Welcome back to Stormworks Unlimited. Today I have a little bit of a different project, and I built a little test bench to test the different types of ammo types and the different types of guns. So all it is it's a series of panels 5 meters apart from each other. Goes all the way to 35 meters. And on this end I set up 5 weapons. Now the first we'll start with the light autocannons, but the plan here is that we have one loaded with kinetic ammo, one with high explosive, one with fragmentation, which is why this one has no 5-meter panel, and one loaded with armor piercing as well as incendiary. So plan here is just to blast into these walls and see what different types of damages do here. And then we'll rotate through all the guns. So obviously starting with the smallest. I'm not super worried about machine guns, but we're going to start with the light autocannons and eventually move all the way up to the Bertha Cannon. So let's get this show on the road. All right, so first up in the test are the light autocannons. I'm just going to give it a small burst and we'll go see what it does. Alright, let's start over here in the kinetic ammo. Now kinetic is just a bullet. It has no modifiers to it. And you can see it did a little bit of damage. Damage straight through on one row of blocks, but nothing went through to damage the second row. So let's go over here to high explosive. Now you can see the difference in the amount of damage done to the front block. But nothing went through on those again. This is fragmentation. So you can see in here, it didn't do a whole lot of damage where it hit, but the fragments have done a little bits of damage all the way around, and nothing went through. Over to armor piercing. We did a little damage on the front block, some damage on the second block, damage on the third block, nothing on the fourth. And incendiary does a little bit of damage. Usually they catch fire, but didn't happen yet, so let's go finish these drums off. Okay, let's run back through here. The kinetic ammo looks about the same as it did the first time. We have a little bit of damage on the first plate. High explosive, we have quite a bit more damage on the first plate. Nothing else anywhere else. Kinetic ammo, we have we have quite a bit more on the first plate, but we have quite a significant amount all the way around. Nothing on the second plate. Armor piercing, we have decent damage on the first plate, a little bit on the second, a little more on the third, nothing on the fourth. And then you can see the fire from the incendiary. So they don't do a lot of damage, but they do damage over time, right? Because of the fire. So give it enough time, it would burn the entire structure to the ground. So let's step it up a notch. All right, next up on the list is the heavy autocannon, configured in the same way with the same drums. So I'm just going to give it a little squirt. You can see the damage across the board is significantly higher. So here's the kinetic. Pretty much damaged the whole plate, but not a lot. High explosive damaged the whole plate plus the floor. Nothing made it through. Did damage some floor on the backside though. Fragmentation, we have damage, not a whole lot on the plate, but quite a bit everywhere else. Armor piercing. This should be a little bit interesting with the bigger gun. There's the third plate. Did damage on the fourth plate. Nothing on the fifth plate. So a little better penetration and quite a bit more damage on the heavy autocannon with the armor piercing. The incendiary, you can see it did quite a bit more damage, but it has not yet caught fire. We'll finish off the drums. Okay. So we're here to take a look at this kinetic. Fairly good damage. We've got some damage on the floor. Whole plate's fairly well damaged. The high explosive, the entire plate is definitely damaged. Pretty good hit on the floor there. Fragmentation looks like it did quite a bit of damage out and around. Nothing got through the plate, but it's definitely hitting back behind it, so the stuff's really flying around in there. Armor piercing, 2, 3, 4, through 4 plates with fairly decent damage. And incendiary, good damage, and once again we're on fire. Alright, let's step it up one more time. Alright, so we're back in here with the rotary autocannons, or commonly referred to as miniguns. The only difference is I changed them to a large drum of ammo, so they actually would fire for more than 1 second. So let's give it a little squirt. Take a look at the damage. Kinetic, no penetration, but it did knock the first plate up pretty good. Second one is high explosive, same deal. The damage is quite a bit better with the high explosive round on the first plate. Kinetic, did not hit the second plate, but damage around is fairly decent. Armor piercing, 1, 2, 3. We did 3 plates worth of damage. And incendiary, not even sure if it shot. Don't see any damage, so we're gonna finish these drums off. Now, for some reason, I seem to have glitched or whatever because this gun would not shoot, so we're gonna try it again. All right, let's check out the damage. So kinetic, plate's pretty well destroyed. High explosive, about the same thing. A little bit more damage. Actually, the plate's a little bit more knocked up on the high explosive. Fragmentation, we did a lot of fragmentation damage. Got some back on the second plate. I'm guessing that was a bouncer. And just tons of little damage everywhere with this. On to armor piercing. Pretty much wrecked 3 plates. Nothing to the fourth. Incendiary is incredibly on fire. And for whatever reason, with the incendiary rounds, that gun really didn't want to shoot that great. But eventually it decided to kick on and go. So on to bigger and better. Right, next up on the list is the battle cannon. This is the only cannon in the large calibers that gives you 5 types of ammo, which are the same type as we've been playing with. So let's go ahead and get a round loaded in here, and we'll fire 1. All right, let's go check out the damage. Kinetic, damaged the whole plate somewhat okay. High explosive, we damaged the plate plus the entire box around the plate. I think I'm stuck in here. I think even maybe behind the plate a little. Yeah, the floor's pretty beat up. Nothing got to the second plate. Fragmentation, first plate's pretty well hit. Nothing to the second plate. Got pretty good damage out and around it though. Armor piercing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hits damage on 6 plates. Not a lot of damage on 5 and 6 there, but that's pretty good damage all the way through. And incendiary, it did not ignite in 1 round, but it still did quite a bit of damage. So let's shoot 2 more. I think for these larger caliber guns, we'll just shoot 3 shells each. Let's go take a look. Kinetic damage, we got a little bit on the floor on that one. Whole plate's pretty well destroyed. High explosive, the whole plate's nuked and all the way around it. That's a pretty darn good amount of damage there. Fragmentation, the plate's fairly well beat up, but around it's hit pretty hard too. And The area of effect on these fragmentation, as you can see, is pretty far. So I mean, we hit clear out here with it. Armor piercing. 3, 4, 5, and 6 is damaged. First plate's pretty good. Tore up. Incendiary, we didn't get anything on fire in 3 bullets. So on to the next. Okay, so we have the artillery spawn in. Now, artillery only gives us 3 different possible shell types. So we have high explosive, we have fragmentation, and we have armor piercing. So we're going to go ahead and load one in. Fire 1 shell. Okay. High explosive. You can see 1 shell worth of damage from this is incredibly disgusting. So lots of damage all the way around. I'm sure the range is pretty high on that too if the barn was a little bit bigger. Let's go over here to fragmentation. Same type of deal. Pretty good damage. We got fragmentation clear back here. That's quite a ways back. So, and armor piercing. Big damage, still a pretty good splash even on AP round, and damage all the way to every plate but the last one. So that's pretty good hit. Let's run the rest of the rounds through here. Alright, let's take a look at what we did. Oh, the high explosive is almost blown the dang thing in half if that was possible. Fragmentation, quite a bit of damage with that as well. If you were to send that into someone's hole, it would pretty much guarantee that they wouldn't have anything left inside of it. So it's interesting to see how that works. And armor piercing, you would shoot straight through the hole. So pretty good damage all the way except for the last plate. And we will move on to last but not least. And last on the list here, we have the Bertha Cannon. Now, the Bertha only gives us 2 different shell types. We have high explosive, and we have fragmentation. I probably should have set fragmentation up here, but oh well. We'll load one in. As you can see, the Bertha Cannon is really slow to reload. Okay, we are loaded. Big hit. You can see the AG does huge splash damage. The Bertha Cannon. Fragmentation just does an ungodly amount of damage. That would be terrible to be hit with one of those. Let's finish off the next couple rounds here. Alright, let's go take a look at the total damage. The AT round has completely devastated everything within, I'd say, 4 meters of the plate. These plates are 5 meters apart. Let's see, 3.5 to 4. Completely destroyed. Fragmentation has completely destroyed everything. Well, total destruction, I would say 5 meters at least in front, as you can see it should have been a little deeper. 4 meters at the back for total destruction. And then we got some damage clear back past 5 meters. So imagine if this plate hadn't been there, it would have damaged that one. So The Bertha does a lot of damage. Well, I think that concludes about most of the main guns in the game. Obviously, we didn't test machine guns, but they only have a couple ammo types, and they're not super effective regardless. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully, it answers some questions for everybody who hasn't quite figured out the damage levels of all the guns and ammo types and whatnot. Hopefully, it sheds some light on kind of like when to use what kinds of ammo. For example, if I'm in my HO-229 and I'm fighting helicopters, I will load up high explosive because it pretty much one hit quits those dudes. If I'm in my destroyer, I use basically fragmentation or high explosive because I need a little bit of penetration. And I don't need to go punch straight through, but enough to do some damage inside other big vehicles. Armor piercing punches straight through pretty well. That's running all artillery on the destroyer, so it's not running Bertha cannons. But if I'm running like a small vehicle, then light autocannons work really good. If you want to strafe like a ship and you just want to do like a quick in and out, incendiaries work great for that. You just got to get a few in them and they light on fire and eventually they will blow up. Of course, if you're pretty good aim, you can take high explosive or fragmentation and aim for the driver as well. And that pretty much destroys them. But anyway, I hope this is something you guys liked. Leave me a comment. If you want to see more cool stuff, then feel free to subscribe. We always have some different stuff all the time. So, for example, we got the Scorpion parked over here. So something that I wanted to bring this out that's kind of interesting for gun types is it's rocking two types of gun, right? So down here on the claws, we have the light autocannon, and up here we have a heavy autocannon that aim at the same place. So you can load those up with different types of ammunition and really be really effective with multiple types of guns like that. So that's something for you guys to keep in mind. Y'all have a good day. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.